Hello there, welcome to Gardening Genes. If you're new to the channel, my name is Kathy. Hi and welcome. Today is a beautiful fall day and we've been out taking care of some chores. Tom is doing a little bit of fertilizing and we did a little bit of planting. It's an amazing day for mid-October because the temperature is in the low 70s, and even though it's windy, I'm out here in my shorts today, which is crazy. But I thought that besides showing you a few of the things that are in bloom in the garden right now, and the fact that the trees are changing, which is pretty cool, I wanted to show you one of the projects that I have planned for 2025. And I think it's an area that I haven't shown any of you before. So come on and join me. Let's have some fun. My word, these planters have just kept on going. They're very simple, of course. They have Dusty Miller in them, and they have Snow Princess lobularia, but they have just bloomed their little hearts out all summer long. And you can see the leaves are starting to coat everything. Pretty soon we're going to be out there starting to pick them up. Now, among my favorite fall bloomers are the white fall anemone. I just love them. And up behind them, you can see that there's some autumn joy sesame doing its thing. But the ones I really enjoy are the monk's hood. Now, this is a poisonous plant. It's really not one that you want to have if you have pets that chew on plants or little children. But my word, look at that color. And these bloom throughout the month of October. It's absolutely amazing. Here are a couple of more planters that just don't want to stop. These have some dichondra in them, as well as the Dusty Miller. We've got some lantana. Now the lantana, I was kind of disappointed in it. None of the critters touched it, which is one of the reasons I put it in. But it completely stopped blooming throughout the heat of the summer and only restarted once it cooled off. I thought that it would like the heat more. And then we have some very, very nice papyrus here. I actually cut this back last week because there was lots of brown growth at the top, and I realized there was all of these fresh new stalks on the inside. And cutting it back allowed them to shine, and it looks like a new planter. And then, of course, the kufia here, which the hummingbirds adored all season. And now the hummingbirds are gone, so they're not being enjoyed the way they were before. But it's a wonderful plant, and if you haven't tried it, please do, because the hummingbirds will thank you. The trees are finally starting to change color. It's mostly the native maples that are changing at this point. And they're starting to drop leaves. Most of the ornamental trees don't actually start to change until quite a bit later. Now, of course, now we're over at Leia's garden. Kind of a silly thing, but I have been emptying planters, and I took the Dusty Miller out of the planters that I emptied, and I put it in the ground here. It is supposedly a Zone 7 perennial, which we supposedly are, so I'm going to see whether or not they last over the winter. Here we are in front of the crescent bed. And another plant, actually all of them, that keep on going are the roses. Now, I'm not doing anything to them at this point. I'm not deadheading them or cutting them back because I don't really want to have a lot of fresh new growth before we have a frost, and the frost is coming. But they keep popping out blooms. So does the Gora. The Gora keeps going right until frost too. This is another plant that's pretty amazing. Such delicate flowers, but such a tough little plant. This is an area that I don't think I've ever taken you through. This is a part of our property that we call the Woods Walk. And it is a beautiful walk through a wooded area. It's an area that we used to maintain. Ooh, the wind. I hope that you can hear the audio over the wind. It's an area we used to maintain for years. And we sort of let it go over the last, say, 10 years. And now this is going to be one of my 2025 projects, is to renovate and regain this area. You can see we've got some big white pines in here. And the plants that are on either side of the walkway are Lacothaway. And they are very, very large Lacothaway. It's mostly a mossy path. There are ferns in here. This is ostrich fern, starting to pass for the fall at this point. And then here we have a nice big American holly. I think this one may be a male. I don't recall this one ever getting berries. And here is some autumn brilliance fern. Not really changing at this point, but this is a what they consider a semi-evergreen fern. And I'm sorry that you're listening to this to the tune of Tom's lawn tractor in the background as he puts down fertilizer. And there's a little bit of epimedium here. I'm planning to transplant more into this area. And we've got a lovely little colony of Christmas fern in here, which I love. And behind it is a Pieris. This is a silver sword. You can see it's got its flowers already set for next spring, but here's the problems we have here. Having let it go, we have quite a bit of wild blackberry that has taken over in here. You can see it kind of popping above the Andromeda, and that needs to be removed. And then there's a nice big patch of hay-scented fern in here. This will be turning very yellow as fall goes on. And we used to have these paths completely lined in a conocloa grass, and over time we've lost some of it. This is the areola. And here is some PJM rhododendron. And we also have some big problems to deal with. Here's a tree that came down, and you might be able to see that it's wedged in the white pine. So we've got to take care of that. Now as we continue on down the path, you can see the hay-scented fern on the right. Here's some more of the conocloa grass and some more rhododendron here. And I started picking up some of the loose sticks. You can see I've got some piles going here. And there is another rather large American holly here. And then this opens up into an area that we call the fire pit. The big rock here provided a natural seat when you were at the fire pit. And on the side here there are some very, very large rows of Sharon, still bloom beautifully. But some of the features here, there's a weeping Norway spruce in here and some dwarf Alberta spruce that have gotten very large. There is hay-scented fern that's taken over this corner, and the hay-scented fern can be very invasive. So I'm going to have to try to remove that. And then that will reveal more of the garden junipers. Backside of the fire pit, starting with the Norway spruce, you can see the garden juniper, and these are two very large, very mature Hellerii hollies, and another dwarf Alberta spruce, and then garden juniper on the side. So this area has got a lot of potential. It just needs to be refurbished. And coming up around the backside, there's a very, very large smoke bush here, and I watched a video that was done by Over to Vest that showed cutting a smoke bush back to 2 feet tall to regenerate it, and I think I'm going to do that with this one this year. If you can see, there's a green Japanese maple in here, and next to it is actually a lovely Stewartia that blooms beautifully in July. Let me see if I can get a better view of it. It is very, very big. But you can see the leaves of it. And it has a very, very interesting bark. Let me see if I can get a close-up of that for you. Yeah, this Stewartia bark is a multicolored bark. Very, very interesting. The ground around it is not so pretty anymore, and so I'm going to do some cleanup there. There is a lot of vinca minor here, and that's fine, but there's things that shouldn't be growing in here as well, things like bittersweet. And these are two very, very large quickfire hydrangeas. And what's interesting is, more wild blackberry. And then these spirea are volunteers, and I consider spirea sort of an invasive. And then on the corner, this is a Little King river birch, which has got to be 50 feet tall, maybe 40 feet tall, but it has some beautiful exfoliating bark. So we'll walk back up the path. And you can see our home in the distance, not too far away. Once again, I'd like to bring this back to what it used to be, and it used to be something quite special. We are absolutely loaded with acorns. The big oak tree has been dropping tons and tons of acorns. And because it actually sits right outside of my bedroom window, this is what we listen to all night long. So more bulb planting. And Tom has made a little map based on the photos from last year.
From April.
From April of this year, that's right. After everything came up. To show where there are bulbs and where there are not. So thank you for joining me today, and I hope to see you again next time on Gardening Jeans. Have a wonderful day.